From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Seismologists at the Alaska Earthquake Center are among those who detected ground movement from an explosion in North Korea that took place earlier this week.
Officials say sensors in the state picked up the detonation several minutes after it was produced. Scientists used automated software and triangulation, placing the at least 5.1 magnitude shake inside North Korea. After ruling out the possibility of an earthquake, Geophysical Institute workers analyzed the blast, finding it was very similar to past explosions they've detected in the Asian country in regard to size and location. Earthquake Center representatives say they are not able to analyze whether the explosion was caused by a hydrogen bomb. Other systems in the Geophysical Institute network did not pick up sound waves from the event, most likely placing it underground. Alaska Earthquake Center Director Michael West says despite the negative implications of the weapons testing, it gives scientists more information.
We don't get many opportunities to test drive new techniques, to assess events of this kind. So it is an opportunity, and by studying it, we learn something that helps us next time.
The world is responding with condemnation, but also skepticism about North Korea's declaration that it successfully tested a hydrogen bomb for the first time. The nuclear test was the fourth for the isolated regime since 2006. The U.S. is still doing the work needed to learn more about the North's test. Now, the UN Security Council met in emergency session yesterday and called the test, quote, a clear violation of its resolutions. U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska is a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. He has been very vocal on the importance of Alaska's strategic location in relation to the Arctic and also the Asia-Pacific theater, and questions why the Obama administration would consider removing troops from the 49th state. He says this latest nuclear test emphasizes Alaska's strategic importance.
Obviously, it's disturbing news out of North Korea if confirmed that they detonated another nuclear device. I think it further illustrates the strategic short-sightedness that the Obama administration has right now with regard to wanting to remove significant troops out of Alaska, including the only airborne brigade combat team in the entire Asia Pacific. That unit, the 425, is certainly the reserve unit for a contingency on the Korean Peninsula. We can get an entire brigade combat team there with the strategic lift we have in Alaska within 7 to 8 hours.
Congress has sent legislation to President Barack Obama's desk repealing his signature health care law. There have been several dozens of previous repeal attempts in the House and the Senate. Wednesday's vote in the House marks the first time such a bill was actually making it all the way to the House. The legislation, which also cuts federal funding for Planned Parenthood, passed the Senate last year under special rules protecting it from a Democratic filibuster. Wednesday's House vote was 240 to 181 along party lines. Obama will veto the bill, but Republicans say that by holding the vote, they have fulfilled a promise to voters in an election year. They also say they've demonstrated that if a Republican wins the presidency, they will actually succeed in repealing the health law.
We know that the president will probably veto it, but let's think about a few things that have happened. This bill repeals the egregious parts of Obamacare. It repeals a hodgepodge of taxes, which is a big problem for small businesses and even individual taxpayers. It ends taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood. It saves $500 billion with this legislation, yet the president is going to veto it.
When we come back, a very generous donation from ConocoPhillips of Alaska will go a long way toward completing construction on a major complex at UAF.
Also in our weekly interior-tainment, tonight's spotlight will be on Flott's production of the play Clue, which begins tomorrow. Stay with us.
And welcome back. The University of Alaska Fairbanks is getting $500,000 to help complete the engineering building. Oil producer ConocoPhillips Alaska gave the university the $500,000 donation to put towards the fourth floor, which will be the home of UAF's Alaska Center for Energy and Power. The main focus of the center is to conduct applied energy research and develops and tests alternative energy systems. Once the fourth floor is finished, students will be moved into the facility whether or not other areas are complete. ConocoPhillips has not only been supportive financially to UAF's engineer program, but they have also mentored students and provided internship opportunities.
So the fourth floor of this building, we've decided will house the Alaska Center for Energy and Power. And we've launched a fundraising initiative to raise $6.5 million to complete that floor. So we're not relying on state money to do that. We're raising private funds. ConocoPhillips just donated $500,000 to that effort. That's a big step closer to our goal of getting ASAP into that building.
Well, we support a lot of engineering and science programs throughout the state. Much of our work that we do on the North Slope and in our exploration and production business is based on science and engineering. So we want to put our money to help fund energy programs, and this was a good place to put that money.
Everyone's a suspect in the Fairbanks Light Opera Theater's latest production based on a classic board game. Mike Fussell will clue you in on the fun in this week's Interiortainment.
Professor Plum, Colonel Mustard, and Mrs. Peacock, they're just a handful of the characters who all have cold-blooded intentions to do away with Mr. Body. Clue the musical, based on the game that may have had you casting suspicion on your childhood friends, is coming to life for the next 2 weekends at the Salisbury Theater. Your goal? Figure out who done it.
We're basically playing the game, so the audience has game cards and they can play. And I am like a narrator host, kind of, to everyone. And I give these clues throughout the night.
Just like the Parker Brothers board game, there's a chance no two performances will be alike. After the room, weapon, and killer are drawn, the audience plays along with a clue card, and actors must adapt to the evolving show.
It affects me probably the most, because I give the clues to the audience. I think the most I have is like 5 options of what I'll say, depending on who is, like in a little monologue. So it's pretty challenging for me.
There are 216 possible outcomes, all tied to different songs and scenes. Sometimes an actor doesn't even know they've committed the crime until halfway through the performance. Director Mary Catherine Maroney says those on stage are preparing for that challenge.
A lot of them actually play backstage. They play Clue every night, and they go off of listening to what he says as to who the murderer is, what the weapon is, and what the room is, because it affects what their character does next, as well as they just are interested in what's going to happen.
The music, directed by Alicia Willard, spans different styles, but ultimately sticks to the campy, lighthearted nature of the script. But even with singing and dancing, solving the mystery can still be chilling.
You're watching these people who very quickly go from being very engaged, as you and I are, to completely like this. And the change of energy, the change of expression, the deadpan, it wakes you up because you realize that throughout all of it, this body character is manipulating them and controlling them and playing the game.
So whether it's with a rope, revolver, or a candlestick, in the billiard room or the lounge, there's no question that everyone has the motive to entertain and Clue the musical. Reporting from the Salisbury Theater, I'm Mike Fussell.
That's Interiortainment, brought to you by Midnight Sun Family Medicine.
I want to go see that. I want to find out who did it.
All right, but if you go, you won't know who did it. You won't have a clue.
I won't, but they'll provide the clues.
That's true. All right, up next in sports, we preview some upcoming series for the local hockey teams.
Are you practicing prévu?
Prévu.
Prévu. Also, Hockey Week in Fairbanks will be adding some new events this year.
All that and more after the break.
Prévu.
Welcome back, everyone. Scoop Clark filling in for Joe Cook this Thursday night. He is out on assignment. Let's talk some sports, okay? The Alaska Nanak hockey team will be visitors for their next 3 series. This weekend, they start their longest road trip of the season against the Alabama Huntsville Chargers, who are in last place in the WCHA. Even with a 3-9-4 WCHA record, the Nooks are just 2 points out of 8th place, which is the final playoff spot. In recent years, the Nooks tend to go winning streaks during the second half of the season. After the Chargers, Alaska will visit North Michigan and then end their roadie against the Wisconsin Badgers after a bye week. Now, the Fairbanks Ice Dogs will end their longest road trip of the season this weekend in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. They will take on the Johnstown Tomahawks, a third-place East Division team. The Tomahawks have won 3 of their last 4 outings and are led by Luke Lynch's 32 points. Andrew Romano is coming off an East Division Star of the Week award. They are 17-4-4 on the year. Fairbanks is looking to gain momentum before finally coming home to the Dip. The Ice Dogs split with the Aston Rebels in their last series, but they have a 24-5-3 record and lead the Midwest Division by 9 points. Packy Munson, an Ice Dogs alum, is having a heck of a season for the Vermont Catamounts. Munson was named Hockey East Rookie of the Month for his second Rookie of the Week award in a month. Munson went 3-0 last week. He made 60 saves on 63 shots. He shut out Lake Superior State in a 1-0 win on 23 saves. He followed that up with a 20-save game in a 4-1 win over Colgate, which earned him MVP honors in the 20th Sheraton TD Bank Catamount Cup. He led Vermont to a 3-2 overtime win against New Hampshire on 17 saves. Now, so far, Munson has a 4-2 record, 2 shutouts, and a 1.6 goals allowed average. He is 4-0 in home games. He talks about his recent success for Vermont.
Being consistent every night and every day at practice, you really can't take a day off. You got to take every shot as if it was Game 7. I think that's really been a big key to my success, is just really focusing on not taking any days off. It's been amazing. I mean, I never dreamed of, getting accolades or, like winning this, winning 4 games against some, pretty tough competition. I mean, a lot of it's just been, good team wins and being ready when my number was called, and I just hope to keep it going.
Here's good news on a signature local event. Hockey Week in Fairbanks will have 3 new events in 2016. Now this year there will be a giant hockey jersey signing. Alaska Tintin Tarp is sewing a gigantic jersey that will be open to the public to sign, and it will be at every event. The jersey will be on permanent display after Hockey Week ends. Brady author Mary Shaw will make an appearance. Her 12 books for kids uses hockey to teach youth about values. The Fairbanks Hockey Hall of Fame purchased her books for local elementary schools. Now for the adults, the Hoodoo Brewery will host a beer tasting called A Hockey Night at Hoodoo. On Monday, February 29th, a new beer will make its debut. Who knew, Hoodoo? Hockey Week in Fairbanks will start on Saturday, February 26th and concludes on Sunday, March 6th. Now the mushing season is getting into full swing. The Yukon Quest is less than a month away, and the Copper Basin 300 is this weekend. Those are some of the big distance races, but the sprint dog sled races are picking up as well. Last weekend, local musher Carl Earhart won the Open Class 12-mile event with a total time of 85 minutes 16 seconds in the Orville and Doris Lake Memorial Race. This weekend is the Sioux Valley Championships. There will be 1- and 2-dog ski joring and 4-, 6-, and 10-dog sled dog races along with an open class. This will be a Montana Creek Dog Mushing Association event. Sign up for classes start at 9 a.m. this Saturday morning. There will be a $6,000 purse. And in high school hoops action, the Lathrop girls hosted the Barrow Whalers in a non-conference matchup on Wednesday night. Lathrop head coach David Stewart addressing his team during a timeout. Look at that. Now this was a low-scoring game. The Malamutes had the upper hand throughout this one. They led 19-10 at the half and had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Cheyenne Dybert scored a game-high 9 points and had 4 blocks for Lathrop. Barrow chipped away and strung together some points. As Kutuk Danner's score cut it to 6, then Milia Wright made 27-23. Lathrop with 1:23 left, but that's as close as the Whalers would get as Lathrop wins 31-25. The Malamutes credit a recent tournament for preparing them for this game.
We went down to Phoenix actually, and we played some really hard teams there, and it got us really ready for this season here. And I think the competition down there was way quicker than this, so that got us ready a lot.
Well, the positive is the defensive intensity. We wanted to have great defense intensity tonight, and for 3 quarters we had that. And if it wasn't for defense, we'd been in trouble right there in the 4th quarter.
That will wrap things up for sports tonight. Thanks for watching. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast. And like Joe says, we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into our Thursday night edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about the weather. Cloudy all day long and temperatures pretty chilly. We weren't expecting it to be quite that cold. We're looking at still a warming trend over the weekend. We'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Our photograph for tonight, this was sent in by Sean Chura, and was able to capture a sunset at Eielson Air Force Base. Really nice photograph there. And as always, if you have a photograph to share, send it to photos@ktvf11.com. Your numbers look like this. Today's high 4 above, currently 1 above. The low last night 10 degrees below 0. Record high 33 in 1944, 55 below in 1975. Our sunrise and sunset 4 hours and 25 minutes. That's a gain of almost 4.5 minutes for the day. And another air quality alert going on, unfortunately, right on through Friday tomorrow. Fairbanks, stage 1 moderate conditions, and North Pole is in a stage 3 condition, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups. So folks in North Pole, you want to try and limit your burning if you can. And of course, those with respiratory and heart problems should not be outside. That includes the children too. Here's our satellite and radar. Again, you can see the high pressure ridge well defined over the central section of the state, keeping all the moisture off to the southwest. A few showers in the Gulf of Alaska around the Kodiak Island region, and that is about it. Not too much going on. As far as the rest of the state is concerned, you can see kind of chilly at Juneau, 20 degrees there, 31 at Ketchikan, just cloudy skies around the Anchorage Bowl, 40 degrees, and some showers around the Kodiak region. Along the Aleutian chain, cloudy skies at Cold Bay, then more sunshine as you move up the west coast from Bethel at 33 to Nome at 26. Barrow not nearly as warm as they were yesterday, 1 degree above today, but still pretty chilly in Fort Yukon, 9 degrees below zero. Lower 48 weather, more energy moving across the Central Plains, kind of wrapping up into showers and maybe some long periods of snow here across the Minneapolis areas. They're getting ready for that playoff game Sunday. And elsewhere, as you can see on the west coast, things have calmed down for a little bit, but another storm system approaching from the west. And the overall picture is more snowfall moving across the Intermountain region and also into the Arizona and even parts of Utah with a heavy snowfall around the Flagstaff area, close to 2 feet possibly there. And the jet stream once again is indicating that the flow will be continuing to come across the Pacific Ocean, diving down to the south, moving rapidly up to the east, mixing the snow and rain across the Great Lakes, and then more rain over the eastern side of the country. Okay, time once again for our kids' weather, and all this week we're talking with the kids from Salsha Elementary School. And tonight, here we have a young lady with a question for me.
Hi, my name is Cassidy. I'm in Mrs. McGee's 5th grade class in Salsha Elementary School, and here's my question for the weatherman. What forms lightning?
Well, if you can think of static electricity in a bigger scale, that's exactly what lightning is in the atmosphere. It's a huge area of opportunity for the lightning to develop because of the static electricity. One point connecting to the other point, and that completing it makes the lightning bolt. Don't get a whole lot of that here in the Fairbanks area, unfortunately. I like lightning. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And tomorrow night, we'll wrap things up with a teacher. She'll be here with a fact about snowflakes. Okay, our forecast for the remainder of the night, actually for northern sections for tomorrow for Alaska, partly cloudy skies for Barrow, mostly clear skies for Nome and Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, no change expected. Partly cloudy skies for Fairbanks and Delta Junction. Increasing clouds for the Healy area. Over the southeastern sections, looking pretty good still. Sunny skies for Juneau, a few clouds at Ketchikan. And over the southwest part of the state, it looks like rain and snow for Cold Bay. Heavy rain expected at Kodiak, and more snow expected around the Bethel area. And over the south central regions, for the Anchorage area, chance of rain at Homer, but otherwise just cloudy skies for Valdez and Anchorage. And our forecast for the remainder of the night, like I said, cold temperatures, quite a bit colder than last night, 12 below for the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecasts during the daytime highs around 6 degrees with, again, just partly cloudy skies. Now, the extended forecast for the next 5 days shows definitely a warming trend for Saturday and Sunday, then cooling off a little bit once again toward the end of the 5-day period. And overnight lows will also remain above normal for this time of year, cooling down a little bit for Monday night, but still this time of year, our normal low is right around 2 degrees below zero, so we are definitely still warmer than we should be.
And as we said yesterday, I am departing from the news desk, but I am leaving my seat in good hands. We want to introduce you to Sarah Dubowski.
Absolutely.
So Sarah, we're excited to have you as a part of the team.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. It's been so fun, you know, the last few months working with you guys, and I'm excited to fill your shoes. They're big shoes to fill.
You'll
do
just
fine. You can basically call Sarah native Fairbanks because she just left for 13 years and then decided to come back, and that's really good.
No, and it's a good thing too because she went down to the LA area and she came back before it ruined her. So, you know, perfect. So we saved her, and now she's going to have a healthy career here. It's going to be wonderful.
Yes, we're really excited.
You're not going to miss the traffic though, are you?
I don't miss the traffic at all. I think that was one of the points when I wanted to leave.
Oh, the good thing about it, her mom is a teacher at North Pole Elementary. Is that what it is?
No,
she's at U Park.
U Park.
Okay.
U Park. Yeah.
Let's not give out too much information, but let's just welcome
Phone
Sarah.
number, if you want to know, is 907. No, known.
I'm just showing she's definitely a Fairbanks in all the way.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we're glad to have her.
All right. So welcome, Sarah.
Welcome.
Thank you. All right, that'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Well, tonight on NBC Nightly News, the U.S. stocks plummeted today over news of China's economy faltering. That's up next with Lester Holt.
All right, join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com. Take us out, Sarah.
From all of us here at News Center 11, have a great night.
Good night.